All right, welcome back to BNC Live. The three white men, this is a story I told you about before the commercial break, convicted of murdering Ahmaud Arbery. These three men, they've been found guilty on federal hate crimes, among other charges today, for violating Arbery's civil rights and targeting him because he was black. After the verdict, the 25-year-old's parents spoke outside the court. They say today's victory was in spite of the fact that federal prosecutors initially offered Ahmaud's killers a plea deal.
What we got today, we wouldn't have gotten today if it wasn't for the fight that the family put up on January the 31st. What the DOJ did today, they was made to do today.
Come on.
It wasn't because what they wanted to do.
Taxpayers.
They were made to do their job today. We got a victory today. But it's so many families out there who don't get victories because of people that we have fighting for us.
And staying with this story, we're going to go to BNC's Dray Clark. He's been following this story from the beginning. He joins us by phone. Dray, welcome as always. Arbery's family's victory comes nearly 2 years since Ahmaud's death. Tell us what the new conviction means and what's next.
Well, for the Arbery family, it's finally getting justice for Ahmaud. You know, we are less than 24 hours away from the 2-year anniversary of Ahmaud Arbery's murder. It was February 23rd, 2020 at 1 p.m. on a sunny Sunday afternoon when he was shot and killed. And so today's verdict, this guilty verdict, is the justice this family has been waiting for. It's what they prayed for, and they've waited nearly 2 years to get. First, they were victorious in getting a conviction on the state level on the murder charges, and now on the federal level, this 12-member jury agreeing with prosecutors that Ahmaud Arbery was targeted because he was black, simply because he was a black man running through a majority white community, and these men assumed the worst when they saw him running. And what's next for the family is there's a civil aspect. There's the criminal justice, and then there's civil. And we know that both Marcus Arbery Sr. and Wanda Cooper Jones, who are the parents of Ahmaud Arbery, they are suing Glenn County for how they handled the investigation. And then you also have the former Glenn County District Attorney who was charged with obstruction and using her position to sort of delay the arrest of Gregory and Travis McMichael, because Gregory was one of her former investigators. And so the allegation is that she used the power of her position to delay their arrest and to get in the way of the investigation. So you have the civil aspect for the Arbery family, and then at some point in time, Jackie Johnson will have to go to court to answer to these charges against her.
All right, Dray, we also know that the three men were also found guilty of other crimes. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, essentially they were all facing federal hate crimes charges, in that the allegation was that they went after Ahmaud Arbery because he was black. The jury said, yes, we believe that's true. Now, for Gregory and Travis McMichael, it's a bit different in that Gregory McMichael was carrying a handgun, and we know that Travis McMichael was carrying a Remington 12-gauge shotgun, which he used to murder Ahmaud Arbery. So the jury said they used these weapons in the commission of another crime, which is violating Ahmaud Arbery's civil rights. And so they were found guilty of the charges more so than William Bryan. However, when it's all said and done, all three men are facing the possibility of spending life in prison. You know, whenever you're charged at the federal level, whenever you have to go to trial at the federal level, it's usually very serious in nature. And in this case, it really doesn't get any more serious than being charged with hate crimes, and at the same time being charged with carrying high-powered weapons that you use to rob Ahmaud Arbery of his rights. You attempted kidnapping, you blocked him, or as they said, they trapped him like a rat, and you use pickup trucks and you use high-powered weapons to make sure that you were able to trap him.
Yeah. Dray, last question for you. What's been the reaction from civil rights organizations? Because we know they were heavily in attendance during the state trial?
Well, as you might imagine, Black civil rights organizations all across the country are very happy with this verdict that the Arbery family was able to get a victory with this jury. But the NAACP, which is the oldest Black civil rights organization in the country, Derek Johnson, who is the president of the NAACP, he did release a statement after the verdict was read, and he said, 2 years ago today, none of us knew of Ahmaud Arbery. But 2 years ago tomorrow, his story shook the conscience of our nation and world. Ahmaud Arbery was lynched in broad daylight, and today's verdict brings us one step closer to justice. And, many people, said that what happened to Ahmaud Arbery was a modern day lynching. And I just really one quick note. When I was there in Brunswick last year covering the state trial, I would go out into the community and just kind of on my own and walk and talk with people. And I remember many people telling me that Gregory and Travis McMichael and William Bryan were racist to the core. They were radical racists who hated Black people. Multiple people told me that. Of course, I couldn't report on it because it was hearsay. But in the community, that was the consensus, is that these men were true blue real deal racists. And so when this federal trial happened and the prosecutor started reading those text messages from Travis McMichael calling Black people monkeys, savages, and subhuman, William Bryan upset because his daughter was dating a Black man, using the N-word, and Gregory McMichael saying that Black people are nothing but trouble. I wish they would all die. I said, that's what they were talking about. That's what they were telling me. This is what they were referring to. And for the prosecution, they had a slam dunk case. They used their words against them. And there was no way, it's inconceivable, that anyone could have heard that vile, racist language and somehow could have walked away thinking, oh no, these men aren't racist. They were just using empty rhetoric. No. Gregory and Travis McMichael and William Bryan are racist. And that's why they murdered Ahmaud Arbery. And that's why they will spend likely the rest of their natural lives in prison looking over their backs, but they'll never see the light of day, at least on the other side of that gate, the prison walls. And they deserve it for what they did.
Yeah, Dre, I just want to ask you one quick question. As your colleague and obviously someone that cares about you, I know that this this case, this trial, it impacted you as a fellow runner, right? How were you after everything is said and done? The state, the federal trial, it's done. They've been found guilty. As you mentioned, they'll never see the light of day. How are you?
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy for Ms. Wanda Cooper Jones and Mr. Marcus Arbery Sr. I had the opportunity to speak with them several times, and along with their family members there in Brunswick, Glenn County, Georgia. And I always admired how kind they were to the crush of media types that would walk up to them every day. But at the same time, I have a 14-year-old son, soon to be 15, and an 8-year-old daughter, but particularly my son. I've had that conversation with him. If you get stopped by the police, don't say a word. Don't say a word or say you want to call me or your mother. But don't say a word. Don't talk back. Don't make any moves. Don't do anything. Just hold your ground. I've had that conversation. I am a runner. I can't imagine what Ahmaud Arbery felt on February 23rd, 2020. For more than 5 minutes, these men in these pickup trucks chasing him, and he's turning and twisting and trying to get away from them. And they are just determined to stop him. The terror he must have felt, not knowing what was going to happen, and then to finally get to a point where they trap him and box him in. And Travis McMichael, this so-called member of the U.S. Coast Guard who was trained in de-escalation tactics, takes out a 12-gauge shotgun and blasts it. He just puts a hole right through Ahmaud Arbery's body. while his father is standing up on the truck with another handgun and saying, "I will blow your blank head off." I don't care what color you are, black, white, orange, or green. Seeing that video, seeing that young man run for his life, if that didn't bother you, there's something wrong with you. But to be black in America, we're always, always, always walking a tightrope. And if you're a black man in America, you definitely walk it every day. One wrong move, one bad decision, one choice to run through a majority white neighborhood can cost you your life. So as a black man who is consciously black, who doesn't paint this on for the benefits, I'm black. I was raised black. My grandmother was a civil rights activist in the North. I'm black, true and blue. So I'm never satisfied. I'm never at a point in my life where I'm completely at peace walking the streets as a black man for any number of reasons. And that's sort of the world I have to raise my black son in and my black daughter. And it's the plight many of us who have children or young people that we care about. We have to shoulder that, unfortunately. We have to shoulder that burden, not because we're weak, not because we are victims. It's just because of the way the country is set up.
Yeah.
We were brought in as slaves and still treated very much in many cases like we're not fully human,
Yeah.
fully
Dray.
human. And that hurts. That hurts.
Yeah, it does. Dray, we appreciate your honesty and more importantly, your transparency. BNC Live will
Thank
be right back.